First impressions matter, and Marty Cifuentes delivered 3 points in a style that seemed uniquely his as the Portland Timbers take down Tijuana in a 3-1 victory to close the Leagues Cup campaign.
Caicedo, DaCosta, overlapping well across for Kevin Kelsy! A familiar source for the first goal of the Cifuentes era. Kevin Kelsy gets the Timbers on the board just before half.
I take very seriously every competition, every game, every training, every small-sided game, every drill. For me, it's important to have that edge. So I didn't want in my first game to send a message that this game was not important. We knew that it was small chances perhaps to go through, but still, as long as it was some, I think it was worth to try.
Marty Cifuentes at media a few days ago stressed finding the balance between what the Timbers were and what the Timbers will be. But he did definitely introduce some ideas today that were new to the Portland Timbers and their fans. The right back, if you watched my tactics video a few days ago, is usually an inverted fullback in the Marty Cifuentes system. And I do think we saw that out of Eric Miller. As a whole, when the Timbers have concrete possession in the attacking third, it is almost positionless soccer. DaCosta and Cole Bassett, I would love to see their heat map after this game, showed up everywhere. 5 minutes into the game, they were right next to each other on the left wing. 2 minutes after that, they both have their heels on the edge of the 18-yard box. Those two players are really going to be sort of the heartbeat of creating overloads across the pitch. This does have some negatives in terms of the changes as well. There's teams like this in MLS that play a little bit of a similar style. When it works, it is beautiful possession-based Cruyff-style soccer. When it doesn't and you make mistakes, the other teams can feast on that. It isolates the center backs a lot. I think it's going to be a big ask out of Finn Sermon and Kamal Miller to play this way every game, because as high of a line as they have, if you lose those individual battles or you lose the second balls, it's usually going to be odd man breaks going the other way. But one thing that I did like from the Timbers in this game is the amount of bodies they have pressing the defensive line. In the first half, Tijuana played with almost a back six, but in the second half, when they opened up the formation a little bit, creating those pockets, the Timbers did it so well.
And all the credit to the guys, to the players, to the staff, because everybody has been so good to try to embrace in just barely 48 hours. Probably a lot of ideas. We wanted to have a good balance, but sometimes you get as well a bit excited when the group is very open and they're very, very ready, so some way to take some instructions. But I think, especially I'm aware that it's going to be some up and downs, but especially to see how the players try to do most of the ideas. Basically 3-4 that we wanted to really reinforce, but it was very strong.
The story an hour before kickoff was just how strong of 11 Marty Cifuentes put out there, despite the Portland Timbers being mathematically eliminated from Leagues Cup advancement at the time of kickoff. Christopher Velda, DaCosta, Kevin Kelsy, the lot. But it ended up being the bench players by the end of the game that really take the story and deserve a segment in this post-game report. I thought João Ortiz was awesome.
What I said to the guys over the last couple of days, for me it's very important who starts the game, but at least as important who finish the games. And I think that all the guys who came in the second half proved that they can contribute. I'm very happy with the minutes of João, very happy with the minutes of some of the guys that really came with a lot of energy.
And Anthony, we have to talk about him as well. When he came into the pitch, it was interesting to me that he first went to the right wing, even though Christopher Velda was not on the pitch. So it was Anthony right wing, Lassiter left, but then Anthony scored his goal from the left wing because he stayed on that side after Lassiter took a corner kick right over there. And then moments later, Anthony was through on net. Sort of saw the negative side of Anthony as well. Hesitated a little bit in front of net, took too big of a touch and didn't end up with a shot on goal, but then he still has a very good performance in this game with an assist moments later to the player he's competing with for minutes.
Ortiz takes it off the goalkeeper, 20 yards from that into the box. It's Anthony, doesn't take it first time, plays it across to Lassiter, and the Timbers up 2. Anthony and Lassiter compete for starting minutes, but best of friends on the connection there. Timbers up 3-1 in the 77th.
Every time there is a new coach, all of us, we have an idea of how is our perfect way to win a soccer game, and that doesn't mean that we don't value what has been done, but you will not probably listen me speaking about what happened before, but what's going to happen from now on.
My biggest fear coming into Leagues Cup for the Timbers is that it would completely halt the momentum they had in their undefeated MLS return after the World Cup break. But what it's done is it doesn't put more games in August because unfortunately they don't qualify, but it still keeps the momentum up and gives them one sort of glorified preseason game, if you will, under Marty Cifuentes before they play Chicago, San Diego, and LAFC in the span of 6 days. Cifuentes really doesn't have any time on the training pitch with these guys. 4 games in 10 days, and the training sessions they do have will mostly be recovery sessions. So to actually implement some of the ideas was a welcome sight to see. The Timbers are being so receptive to their new head coach.
The second half, in terms of being able to play through them on the last third, was better. We created good goal chances, and at the end we got a good win that unfortunately we are not going through, but that it was I think a good way to start, especially for us and for the team to keep the good trend that the guys had lately.
This will be a big topic on the Timber Review podcast tomorrow, which will come out in the afternoon. But Kevin Kelsy was the subject to a $10 million bid from Scottish Giants Rangers. Rangers were dumped out of the Champions League today, so it makes that proposition a little bit less desirable. I have no doubt in my mind Kevin Kelsy would absolutely crush it in that league. But with the report by Tom Bogert, and we put some of the details up on the Timber Review Patreon, the Portland Timbers are not entertaining offers right now. So unless they get an even bigger bid, one that could potentially break the Timbers club record, which was $12 million for Evander, I don't see the Timbers selling Kevin Kelsy. He has turned into a very important player, but it does show good business by the Timbers. They reinvested the $12 million they got for Evander, $6 million into Kelsy, and about the same for David DaCosta, and you can nearly already double your money on the young striker Kevin Kelsy a year and a half later. I talked to Kelsy one-on-one about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and he really stressed to me how good his mental health is right now. I think he needed the World Cup break, and he really got a lot of confidence from his time with the Venezuelan national team, and of course he scored in this game. He almost had a brace. I love what I'm seeing out of Kevin Kelsy this year, and while he wasn't too involved in the opening half, there's going to be a lot of added wrinkles to his game in the back half of the season under Cifuentes.
Obviously, we're going to try to add hopefully more dominance during the games, hopefully a higher press, hopefully more continuity in the way we attack. And I think today, for instance, the first goal was a very clear example about the way we want to counter press, which for me is a very important part of the game, because if you have the energy to do it, it's one thing that shows desire, that shows great mentality, but as well you need to have the right positions.
A busy week for the Timbers as they'll head to Chicago tomorrow night. I'll be at the training facility in the morning to have a conversation with new assistant coach Xavi Calm. I'll share a little bit of what I learned in that on the Timber Review podcast tomorrow afternoon. But from Providence Park, 3-1 the final score. What an enjoyable 6-game homestand overall.